Everybody needs a player on their baseball team that is clutch. They're going to come up in the big moments and make the big play. They're going to have the big hit. So today, we're looking at players and the difference between their high leverage hitting and their low leverage hitting. And I want to look at the biggest differences between players who have a very good approach and very good numbers in low leverage situations, but maybe struggle in high leverage situations. Just to start off the rip, Fangraphs uses their own leverage index. Anything above one on the leverage index is above average, and anything below one on the leverage index is below average. When a batter is up to the plate, say in the sixth or seventh inning, down 25 runs, that would probably be considered a zero on the leverage index. While when somebody comes up in the bottom of the ninth with the bases loaded, down three, with two outs, that would be obviously considered a 10 on the leverage index as one of the most intense moments. So, when taking a look at clutch hitting, I wanted to look at two things. One, who were the best hitters during low leverage situations? And two, who were the worst hitters in high leverage situations? And I wanted to see who had the biggest difference in those two numbers, meaning who had the highest OPS on the low leverage end, and who had the lowest OPS on the high leverage end. Who's getting it done with nobody on base when it doesn't matter, yet not getting it done when it really matters at the end of the game? The hitter in the MLB with the biggest difference between their low leverage and high leverage OPS is none other than Augustin Ramirez. He has a 969 OPS during low leverage situations like this 0-0, top of the first, not solo home run, not necessarily going to impact the outcome of the game later on. Yet in high leverage situations, his OPS drops all the way down to a 383. That is a 586 point difference, by far the biggest number on this list. The next player we have on this list is one of my favorite players in all of the MLB. That would be none other than Kyle Schwarber. Kyle Schwarber has a 920 OPS in low leverage situations, just like this one, the clip on your screen now. Unfortunately, when it comes to high leverage situations, Kyle Schwarber's OPS drops all the way down to 399. That is a 520 point difference between the low leverage situations and high leverage situations. Kyle Schwarber and Augustin Ramirez are the only people in Major League Baseball that have a over 500 point difference in their low leverage and high leverage situation hitting. Another one I thought was interesting to end up on this list was Aaron Judge. This is a guy that is going for the American League MVP for being so good at the plate. It's crazy to think about, but the reason he is on this list is because his low leverage OPS is 1.258, which is so disgustingly insane. The thing is, Aaron Judge has by far one of the highest high leverage situation OPSs in all of Major League Baseball. However, the difference between the high leverage and low leverage is so crazy because his low leverage OPS is so high. His high leverage OPS is a staggering 810. He's still hitting with an over 800 OPS in high leverage situations. But because he is so unbelievably good at low leverage situations, it's still a 448 point difference. It is unbelievable. Another guy who's kind of doing the same thing as Aaron Judge right now is Juan Soto. His low leverage OPS is 1.8 as well, a 1.035. His high leverage OPS isn't as good. It's down at 679, but because he's 1.8 in the low leverage situations, that goes for a 356 point difference in OPSs, which does crack the top 10 on this list in difference. However, I think it's really similar to Aaron Judge's. I don't see much of a problem with a 679 OPS in high leverage situations. He's clearly getting it done. He just has such a high OPS in the low leverage. The last one I wanted to mention was Mr. Brenton Doyle. The reason I bring him up is because he has by far the lowest high leverage OPS on this whole list. In high leverage situations, Doyle is only hitting 235 OP in the OPS slot in high leverage spots. So with the game on the line, it is not the guy you want up to the plate. The man's regular OPS is just a passable 610, which really isn't great. I mean, everybody knows Brenton Doyle's a guy that's on the field for his glove. He's hitting ninth for the Colorado Rockies. However, sorry, Brenton Doyle, with the game on the line trying to help your team, a 235 OPS is abysmal and not going to cut it, which goes for a 374-point difference between low leverage and high leverage OPS. Those are the guys not getting it done in the clutch, but getting it done when the game doesn't matter.